What is gold? Gold is a chemical element. It is a metal, and it's generally found in its elemental form. It is unreactive, and it's very soft, making it very appealing for its use in artworks.
It just brings the whole painting alive, doesn't it? It's just fabulous, that gold.
When we think about paintings and we think about making paints, we think an awful lot about pigments and mixing them with various binding media. But when you look at a collection like we have at the National Gallery that has so much gold, it opens up this whole other world of techniques. One of the most spectacular examples of gold that we have in our collection is this painting by Duccio di Buoninsegna, The Virgin and Child with Saint Dominic and Saint Aurea with Patriarchs and Prophets, which was painted somewhere between 1312 and 1315. Duccio was a Sienese artist. Siena is a city in Tuscany, and he worked there for most of his life between the 13th and 14th centuries. He was known for his representations of the divine using gold. It's interesting that we've picked this painting because it has Saint Aurea, whose name also means gold. This painting was likely made for Niccolò dei Albertini da Prato, who was the Cardinal Bishop of Ostia, which was a town near Rome. It's a triptych. It has the central panel and it's got two wings which actually fold in, and so you can actually pick it up and take it with you.
It's all made with gold leaf, and it's the same technique like the old Egyptians used. And Siena did it exactly the same way as I do it today. Gold at that time was far thicker than what we have today.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we have machines hammering the gold, and at that time, they had manually hammered the gold. It used to come in coins, and it's kind of interesting because they put the little gold pieces in between parchment, stack them up, put them in a sort of a vellum pouch, and they put it on a stone, and they hammer. About 5 hours to get it nice and flat. And this is a very skilled job because you have to think of getting the center, and sometimes they move the pouch just to get the gold spread nicely.
The softness of gold is such that you can take about an ounce of gold, which is approximately just over 30 grams, and if you flatten it, you can get approximately 180 square feet, which is approximately 17 square meters.
Today, gold comes in books like this, and it's very, very, very thin and flimsy.
Gold is not the only metal that we can find in its elemental form. We can also find silver, for instance, but silver tends to be quite reactive with its environment and tends to form a black kind of coating on the surface, which alters the appearance over time. Gold's lack of reactivity means that the surfaces with gold tend to look very similar to the way that they originally did.
What we do and what they did in Siena is exactly the same thing. You will cut your gold, I would say, like so. And then you wet the clay to activate all the rabbit skin glue that's already there. And I'm just using water with a bit of alcohol and only a tiny bit of rabbit skin glue. And the static picks it up, and then I can just lay it on like so. Ah, it's fabulous.
You make that look so easy.
This is water gilding because we use water to activate the ground layers.
How do you prepare for water gilding?
Preparation is really the key. We put gesso with the wood so you don't see the wood grain. And then that gesso will be smooth to a beautiful finish, so it almost looks like porcelain.
So we have gesso, which is calcium sulfate, which is used as the preparatory layer, which we have here. And that's used for sort of the Italian pictures. But as you go further north, they start to use calcium carbonate, which we have here, which is
used also on panels and on picture frames, but it's a much harder surface than you have with the sulfate. After that is the clay color. Bowl is what it's called.
And when you say bowl, we're talking generally about sort of an iron oxide rich clay.
Right.
Yeah. It's got a lot of slip to it. Yeah.
Correct.
It's got sort of,
correct.
They're very smooth.
Clay colors also come in different shades. So you always start with the yellow, and then you have a sort of an orangey red, you have a black, you have a browny red. Florence, for example, has quite a lot of deep brown, and Siena, I think the early ones, they're a bit similar with the Armenian bowl that was available. We can sometimes pinpoint of which region something is from, just from the clay color. And because of some places, the gold has slightly abraded and you can actually see the clay color. So every time you see gold and a bit of red coming through, that's actually the clay color you see. Water gilding is the only technique that you can burnish the gold and make it look really like the real thing. So highly burnished gold. See, then it becomes really shiny.
That really changes.
Yeah, that's the only way that you can make it look fabulous.
Yeah, and it really looks like gold now. It looks like a solid block.
It's fabulous.
So with the background of this painting by Duccio, the more you look at it, you can see there's lots of
texture. It's actually incised into the ground. And when you look closely, nothing is quite the same way, nothing is that straight, and you can actually see someone's hands, which is really lovely.
When we're talking about incising, you mean actually just scraping?
Yeah, it's like engraving, really.
Right.
You just make your lines like so. And I think that they didn't use a tool because it goes in a curve, and in a curve it's quite tricky to, you know, so it's all hand. The only way when you did the halos, it had a compass probably to do it, but then you follow the compass with your hands, punching around a circle, and you cannot stop. You just have to go, 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 go. If you stop, you haven't got a continuous line.
Sure.
You have various punches as well that you can use, and when the light hits it, it just gets you sparkling effect. It's rather beautiful. Wherever you turn your head, you see it in a different way. And obviously these had candle lights, but also don't forget the church light and the daylight that comes in. It just creates a really nice atmosphere the way the light hits the gold because it's textured. In churches, gold had to be wow because it builds the bridge between the earthly and the divine.
It's interesting that you make that link with the earthly and the divine, because we actually know that gold has actually come from the heavens. It's come from the stars. And the collision of supernovas. When we look at the Virgin's mantle, she has all of these exquisite details that are in gold.
They're drawn on with modern gilding, which is usually drawn a bit lines. It's kind of a dull finish. It used to be called matte gilding because you cannot actually burnish it. You do draw the lines with the oil gilding and you leave it until it's sort of a little bit sticky like sellotape, sort of just has to do that little tack. And then you add the gold leaf and then you just brush the excess away.
Yeah.
And with this painting, the sleeves are so beautifully, so you make all the folds, so you enhance the painter's vision, really.
So for a painting like this, I can see that there's all these different techniques of gilding, but also the carpentry and the painting. Would it have been one artist who did everything, or would it have had many hands? How do you think?
I would think there's a workshop effort. I think the gilder is a specialist, like a carver is a specialist, and a painter is a specialist, and I think they all work together. They are the old artists who were gilders and, you know, sort of became artists. They probably would do their own gilding.
So basically it's a combination of all of these different techniques, but all these different skill sets and craftsmanship and labor that have all come together to create such an absolutely impressive work of art. If you want to learn more about art, please click here or here and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.